The tragic life of a German coconut maniac. Today, I am going to share a strange story. One about a sorrowful life. He was born into a small capitalist family, obtained higher education, acquired professional knowledge and a degree in chemical physics, and had a starting career as a pharmacist assistant. It would have been possible to climb the career ladder, step by step, and continually advance, so as to realize the dream of economic prosperity and personal career development. After he became an adult, both his parents passed away, leaving him with their fortune. Life should be full of flowers, dancing, having children, and enjoying happiness with one's family. He left all these opportunities and dreams behind, as well as civilized German society, to set off for an island that is now known as Papua New Guinea. He chose to live a primitive life, unable to eat delicious, modern food, instead, eating only natural coconut products, sleeping in huts, growing long hair, and living in the nude. Not caring about life's ups and downs, not pursuing prosperity nor love of the world. However, in reality, his life was bleak. He was young but frail, skinny, covered in skin ulcers, and itches all over. He died at the age of 43. He was 1.66 meters tall and weighed only 39 kilograms, 86 pounds, when he died. The man, August Engelhardt, November 27, 1875 to May 6, 1919, was the founder of the Order of the Sun, leading various German worshippers and writing several books for this purpose. Engelhardt, born in Nuremberg on November 27, 1875, was the son of a factory owner who made paint and varnish. After graduating from Erlangen University and acquiring a degree in chemical physics, he served as a pharmacy assistant. His academic knowledge and professional education brought him a strong interest in human health. In the autumn of 1899, Engelhardt joined a vegetarian and nudist organization, the Fountain of Youth. There he bravely promoted his idea, men can live in the natural state of only eating coconuts. He also made public speeches in Leipzig and Nuremberg, but he was laughed at. Later, the association was also forced to disintegrate because of opposition to their nudism and the fact that its founders were also sent to prison. These events caused Engelhardt to see society as a world of restrictive rules, and galvanized him to search for a piece of land to own in order to realize his coconut dream. After 1 year of service in the 14th Infantry, his parents happened to die, leaving him a significant legacy. In July 1902, 27-year-old Engelhardt traveled on the Empire cruise. In September 15, 1902, Engelhardt arrived in New Guinea in the Western Pacific, Germany, which now belongs to Papua New Guinea, and began his 17-year primitive life on the island as a vegetarian and nudist. On October 2, 1902, Engelhardt spent 41,000 marks, and Forsyth Company, Queen Emma Colby, obtained a 75-hectare coconut and banana plantation on the island of Coral. Cabrakan was located in Uroin Fort, Duke York of the Small Islands and now part of Papua New Guinea, and was 28 miles from Herberto, Cacabo of today, where the German New Guinea Empire was located. Another 50 hectares resided in natural reserves. In Cabrakan, the only white man out of 40 Melanesians, he built a 3-room cabin and began to implement his idea of living near nature. He gave up his clothes completely, relying entirely on vegetarian food, with the main food being coconut. He developed the idea that the sun was the source of all life, that the coconut was the fruit closest to the sun, and was the most perfect food for people. Although Engelhardt brought 1,200 books, he felt isolated and wanted to be near a group of like-minded people. The Sun's Order, which he wrote and published in Europe, was promotional literature for the cause. His inheritance allowed him to support his followers. The first new immigrants arrived on the island in 1903, including August von Bethmann Alsleben, a natural writer from Heligoland, born on April 21, 1864, with whom Engelhardt co-authored and published in 1898, the main book entitled The Carefree Future. According to the New Zealand Herald, the long-haired, naked vegetarians, thought to number no more than 30, were a stark contrast to Kaiser Wilhelm's rigid turn-of-the-century Germany and modern-day perceptions of German colonizers in the Pacific as military men, traders or administrators. According to an article from the New York Times dated from October 15, 1905, his plan was to worship the sun. He thought man to be a tropical animal, one who should not live in a cave called a house, but one who should walk like Adam, where the daylight shines upon him, and with the dew of the sky as a mantle at night. He believed that the sun's therapy and curative properties would immunize a person and cure disease. The deeper into the philosophy of Engelhardt, the more dramatic his testimony was. He claimed that the noble organs of the body are the brain, because it is closer to the sun, and denied the power that he derived from the digestive tract. For example, he thought the brain receives energy from the roots of his hair, and that the hair roots receive energy from the sun. In 1905, a report from the New York Times caused a sensation, and 2 followers died shortly after arriving on the island. One was Heinrich Eukens, a 24-year-old vegetarian. He was extremely obsessed with coconut-only vegetarianism, but his body could not bear this practice and he soon fell ill. The other was Max Lotzow, the conductor and performer of the famous Lotzow Orchestra of Berlin. Engelhardt and Bethmann continued work on propaganda. Bethmann wrote many passionate descriptions of life on Capucin, which were published in Germany. Bethmann later became disillusioned about nudist life in Capucin. He told a civil servant of the German government that he would leave for Germany on the next available steamer in June 1906, but later died in September 1906, possibly of malaria. Bethmann's wife Anna Schwab. In mid-1906, Bethmann married her upon arrival and she encouraged him to eat tropical fruits, not just coconuts. Engelhardt believed that these fruits were the catalyst for his demise. 2 months later, Schwab returned to Germany and criticized the cult. As a result, the governor of the island ordered the suspension of new immigrants. Engelhardt was on the island alone again. Engelhardt established the Order of the Sun in Capucin, but the German governor of the island refused to grant an official status. Nevertheless, Ernst Schweitzer of Switzerland arrived in 1908 but died a month later. Engelhardt continued to publish propaganda documents, including bi-monthly magazines, but his work seemed increasingly chaotic. From 1908 to 1913, Engelhardt had been propagating to find followers, but the German government had become more cautious of him. Engelhardt's new followers were now required to first deposit 1,400 Goldmarks to cover any possible expenses for hospital treatments and any return journeys. He announced that he hoped to build an international tropical colonialist empire of nudists and sun worshippers, covering the entire Pacific Ocean, South America, Southeast Asia and Central Africa. All civil servants were required to warn every new settler in Capucin, because Engelhardt was obviously crazy. The German colonial government wanted to ensure that no one else reached his island. Engelhardt continued to advocate sun worship and coconuts until early May 1919, when he died at 43. His body was found on May 6. He was buried in Innible Cemetery on the Duke of York Islands, but the grave is no longer there, and could have been destroyed during World War II. Bradke was the last follower, who died on May 10 at Peterloo Hospital near Herbertshaw. Bradke was buried in a German cemetery in Herbertshaw, now Cacapo. Engelhardt was paranoid, and while there were a few who had chased him, most of them died from all kinds of diseases soon after they went to the island. Engelhardt, in spite of all his disregard, had been obsessed with finding a peer. He was likely mentally ill, but unfortunately, there were no modern medical practices in his time, nor any means to test him or any of the young people who were chasing him and lost their lives. Today's story is finished, thanks for watch. If you like the show, please press the subscribe button, we have more shows for you. Bye now.